Okay, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما تعلمنا وزدنا بفضلك علما وتعليما إنك على كل شيء قدير. So, the Masdar, right? So, one of the beautiful books that the Indo-Pacs, the Turks, the Persians have is the Awamil of Al-Jurjani and the Awamil of Birgavi. And so it's organized in a slightly different way. So the Majrumiya is organized in ma'mulat, right? Generally speaking. Uh, generally speaking. So for example, it has mansubat, the nouns that are in the nasb state, marfu'at. So these are on ma'mulat, right? Things that are the work that is something that has come under the effect of something else. The awamil of al-Jurjani is based on awamil, like things that do other things. So in the Ajurmiya, it doesn't talk about the masdar having amal. Qatr and nada, we talk about it, but it's a useful topic, right? So you could imagine your first Arabic classes could be on the present and past tense verb, and then on the amal of the ism fa'il, and then the amal of the masdar, etc. Right? And there's a concept or a diagram that we've spoken about before, uh, which is the kind of like the relative jumud, the relative how's the word? Kind of verbness or lack of verbness of words. If you have the verb on one side, then you have the true noun on the other side, right? This is the غير مشتق or the jamid word, right? Jamid or غير مشتق. Okay, so here we have, all right, this is like the activity levels. Okay, so on one side we have the verb. The verb is by its nature does amal. It does amal to the maf'ul bihi. It does amal to the fa'il. It does amal to the dharf. It does amal to the jar majrur. It does the amal to the maf'ul min ajlihi, maf'ul lahu, etc. There's lots of things. There's lots of flexibility in it, right? Um, and so it's almost like a volcano, right? So if you can imagine a volcano eruption, right? You know, it's interesting. Like lava and magma, they're the same thing, right? But when it comes out, we call it lava. But when it's inside, we call it magma. Okay. So we have this magma here, right? liquid rock. Okay. Then we have, when it comes out here, we call it liquid lava, right? Then it comes down here, it's like sticky, hot lava, okay? And then it's down here, it becomes hot, solidifying lava. Then we have down here, cooled, solid lava, right? And then uh, what's a rock made out of? Volcanic rock? I guess volcanic rock, right? Volcanic rock. Okay. Now imagine um, plant made from minerals from volcanic rock. Like totally different. So can a plant live, for example, you know? So that's the kind of analogy, right? So the verb is kind of here, right? The verb is kind of here. It's one nature. It becomes the ism fa'il here, right? So the next thing then is the ism fa'il, right? So ism fa'il, you want to call it an adjective? I guess you can want to call it an adjective if you want. Ism fa'il, ism for. Right? So here it's basically the same thing. So what's the difference between a verb and a ism fa'il, ism maf'ul? Not much. It's like the difference between liquid magma and liquid lava, right? I mean, call it technically it's two different things, but one is something under the Earth's crust and one isn't. But it's basically the same. They can do most of the same things, right? It frequently has the same meaning, right? Then you're going to come down and you're going to have going to be over here. I guess you can put it here approximately. You can kind of put it in different ways. You're going to have the mastar, okay? And I guess you can put it on the same level. It's some mubalagha. It's mubalagha and what? صفة مشبهة. I'm going to call it true adjective. The concept of adjective, when we first doing Arabic, we're told there's no adjectives in Arabic. There are such things as adjectives in Arabic, right? So they do use that in Sarf. So, wasn't kada sifatan, right? They say ism versus sifa, right? So sifa does mean adjective, right? So these are not really on the same level, but approximately on the same level, right? Um, it's not super accurate the way I'm doing these things, but what else do we have? So then we got the ism fa'il, masdar, sifa, ism mubalagha. What else? Then we have cooled solid lava, right? That is, I'm going to move.
Is it a, it's in Dublin?
Set. I'm just trying to move it a bit more. It needs to be moved a little bit. These need to be moved a little bit further down here, to be fair. Right? These are kind of not 100% analogies, right? Um, but let's say I'm going to put this cooled solid. I'm going to move this here, and I'm going to move this here, actually. I'll move this word, right? Um, so now we're going to have, now ism fi'l is going to be over here. Ism fi'l is going to be somewhere like here. I'm trying to think. Because it's also this borderline, right? Ism fi'l is kind of over here. I'll put ism fi'l over here. Because ism fi'l by default has a fa'il, right? There's no
Oh, I said اسم تفضيل.
ism
Yeah.
tafdil, jazakumullah khair. Ism tafdil is over here, correct? So ism tafdil is good. So there's going to be, I'm actually going to move these over here, actually. I'm going to put another line here. So ism tafdil, does it have amal? Yes, it always has amal on. So these should, the ism mubalagha, sif mushabbah, put them here, actually. So ism tafdil. Ism tafdil is a stage. Where's my yeah gone? Right. So now we can kind of let's move these things around a lot. But again, the analogies are not perfect, but they're pretty good. So so the verb is like the liquid magma. It's like that is this weird liquid that we're all floating around on, right? It is not on the Earth's surface. It's a totally different thing. It comes to the Earth's surface. We now label it as something else, but it's basically the same thing, right? So the conditions for the yeah, so the ism fi'al or the ism fa'al, ism maf'ul are very, very few. Then we have, let's put this here, right? Then the masdar is not that different. I mean, it's come down. It's not flying in the air, right? Um, it's not flying in the air, and it's burning things, right? You touch it, you burn to pieces. It's very, very hot to look at. It's moving. But it's becoming sticky, right? Then you have the ism. That's the masdar we look at today. So this it's quite easy for the masdar to have amal on and on its fa'il or its maf'ul. It's not that difficult. Then we have the ism mubalagh or sifa mushabbaha. The default is that they have a damir as their fa'il and that's it. Now we might have an ism dhahir. That's not too difficult. Can we have a maf'ul bihi? Yes and no, right? So it's not really a maf'ul bihi. So hot solidifying, right? It's not really the same, right? Uh, You know what? Let's just cut this one out. Let's try and make it like this. I'm going to put this to the side for now. See if this is a better analogy. Cool, solid lava, volcanic rock. It's not really ideal. But this is something that let's see how this analogy works out. So ism mubalagha, right? These two are quite different in nature, right? This is moving. This is not moving, right? But it's clearly lava. Like that is yesterday, that was lava. It's just gone into the sea now. It's just dried, right? So this can it have so ism mubalagha, could it have an ism dhahir as a fa'il? Yes and no. Sifa mushabbaha, could it have an object? Could it have not really, but kind of. Okay. Ism tafdil basically can't do very much, right? Notice how here I'm going to say, for example, Zayd, like here there's going to be this is going to agree. I'm going to say things like um I'm going to say things like Ja'a Zaydun and Ja'at Fatimatu, right? Here I'm going to say Fatimatu akbaru min Ahmad. So it's not going to change gender half the time. It's not going to. It's very rare for it to have an ism for it to have an ism zahir as its fa'il. Can it take an object? I don't think so at all. Can it take an object? I don't think it can take an object at all. So here it's kind of 50-50 debated with some things, but here it's like no, I don't think it can take an object as far as I remember, right? Then we have our true noun. So, here there's iron and various different things in this liquid magma. You followed this iron that now came to the surface, that then was kind of not liquid anymore, but like flowing. Then it cooled down. Then it turned into volcanic rock. Okay. And so here we can do two analogies. Volcanic rock, I don't know, a long time ago, what things that, what's it called? Metamorphic rock or whatever. I can't remember these terms. But things that happen to volcanic rock that changes into something else. But there's the same metal. There is now this iron that was in this, and you grew some spinach, okay, on this volcanic rock. So you were in, I don't know, some place that is formerly a volcanic rock, and you are growing this spinach there, and you eat this spinach, and you have iron in your body from this plant that came from the minerals that came from the thing. This is not this anymore, right? This is Hanafis, right? Istihala proper, right? It's like that is that, even for Shafis, right? You know, وما صار حيوانا, like something that has become new life. Totally different. This is a true noun, like I say Bob, right? جاء Bob. Bob is not mushtaq, right? ولا متأول بالمشتق. It's not ولا متأول بالمشتق, right? It is not either. It's not. It doesn't mean. It's not even interpreted in that way, right? If it was muta'awwal, then it would go back to here, right? So, but it's not muta'awwal bil mushtaq at all, right? So it's just a pure noun. So when I say Zaid, and I just mean this individual, it's just the same as saying Bob, right? So even if Zaid is mushtaq or whatever, that's not what we mean. It's not none of that is meant here anymore. So you say like, oh, this iron, it's not mushtaq. Of course, the iron is mushtaq. The iron came from you know, came from inside this iron that's in your body now from the from the spinach or whatever else that has a lot of iron in it from volcanic rock, from cooled lava, right? This is you know, this is how do I do this? Um, this is a real these two things are totally different now. So here the amal, zero amal. I mean, what can a jamid do? It can do and only things that nouns can do. You can be mudaf. What else? What else can a noun do? Do rafa' of the khabar. That's about it. Right? Can't do very much. Oh, we didn't put ism makan, ism zaman. So that is, I guess, here. Right.
Can you give an example of when اسم مكان or zaman does عمل?
Uh, المقاعد للقتال. That one. So المقاعد للقتال is the jar مجرور للقتال. Is it متعلق to مقاعد? So قعدت للقتال. Right? للقتال متعلق to قعدت. Um, المقاعد للقتال. So is that متعلق to the meaning of قعود in مقاعد or is it not? Is it a صفة of it or is it متعلق to it? Right? So certainly I can't say things like this. هذا مأكل خبزا. You cannot say that. But what about jar majurur? Could I do ta'liq to it with the jar majurur? Right? Because jar majurur is gonna increase my activity level, right? It's gonna do ta'addi. It's gonna increase my activity level. It is like putting on the choke. Right? My kid's got a dirt bike, and my son's trying to start the engine. It's quite hard, right? He's only 9. Well, he's 10 tomorrow, I think. It's kind of hard kicking it. Put the choke on, suddenly. So that's like you suddenly put on a bunch of, So it's like so the jar al majrur. What does it do? Is it puts in oxygen and whatever else onto these things. So suddenly it's hotter and suddenly it's more liquid, etc. Right? That's what the jar majrur does, increasing your or like pressure in an engine. Right? It's like the it's you've got your diesel and you've put under pressure, so now it's behaving like like petrol, right? Or I don't know what else you can think of kind of putting things under pressure so they behave compression, right? Putting a solid under compression so it's behaving it's effectively a liquid now, right? So that's what Jara Majora was doing. It's there to increase the activity level or something. But you can't do it. But a Jara Majrur cannot, when you say it muta'alliq, that's amal, right? That's amal. Ta'alluq is amal of nasb. So a true noun, you can't have ta'alluq to that. Right? So you could have ta'alluq to, for example, ism tafdil, right? And akbaru minka. Why not? But you can't have, can you have ta'alluq to ism makan zaman? Allah alam. Right? Is it truly jamid? Right? So in reality, ism makan zaman is a debate. It's a debate there. Does that
So
make sense?
I had a question. When جار المجرور متعلق to a فعل or في معنى الفعل, is it always treated as مفعول به غير صريح?
Say it again, sorry.
So if a جار المجرور متعلق to a فعل or the معنى الفعل,
No,
then
it's,
is it
it's not
always
it's not always
مفعول به?
مفعول. So I believe what's the book دروس العربية um
جامع دروس العربية.
Yeah, I believe they mentioned the three categories there, I believe. So you basically it's either so it's basically what it is you are trying the jar majrur, you're trying to do three things with it. You're trying to make a dharf that you couldn't make a dharf out of. You're trying to do a maf'ul min ajlihi that you couldn't otherwise do, and or you're trying to do a maf'ul bihi that you couldn't otherwise do. So it's either maf'ul bihi غير صريح or ظرف غير صريح or um, مفعول من أجله غير صريح. And there's a reality تمييز غير صريح as well. It's not really the same thing. Because in تمييز it's a bit awkward because you have a true noun in تمييز, right? Right. هذا رطل قمحا. So رطل is totally jamid. It is not mushtaq in the sense that we know mushtaq, right? It's not muta'awwal bil mushtaq. So that's very different. But otherwise, when we say marartu bi zaydin, مفعول به غير صريح, right? ذلك بما عصوا مفعول من أجله غير صريح, right? توفي بباريس, right? ظرف غير صريح. So because you can't say توفي باريس, that doesn't make any sense.
كان من إلى like خرج من هنا إلى هناك.
That's مفعول به.
Okay.
But then what happens? And it becomes, then you add something, right? Then you added something. So now the analogy you've always given is the like you are using a chisel, okay? Or a tool or a needle, right? Or a syringe. So here is something you are. So by using a needle, by using a chisel, by using a nail, you are changing the surface area and increasing pressure, right? But so the hammer would not have made the same puncture. But who did the amal? Did the nail or the chisel, or the needle do the amal? Or was it the person, or was it the pressure behind it? Was it the hammer, the mallet, the something else? Or is it the muscles? Or is it the structural potential energy in your body? Like where is it? And so when you say amal, like where is the real amal? Who's doing the real amal? Right? So is the real amal happening from the harf jar, or is it happening from the fi'l? Okay, so we say, oh, it's from the fi'l. However, the tool that you have used has a meaning, right? Harfun ja'a ma'na, right? So you chose the actual thing that touched this surface, this skin, this wood, this metal, was a hammer, was this wood that was a chisel with a particular shape, the needle with a particular thing, so it punctured in a particular way. So it does have a meaning, and you have nuances. So now we have these huruf al-ma'ani, right? It's not just it has all these meanings, right? You did a proxy war that happened between ultimately the wars between these group and these group. But in the middle, yes, the war is ultimately between the people who are funding them, but at the end of the day, it's these two people with the nuances, with the difficulties, with the specifics. Those people you choose to fight against are relevant. There is a meaning to it. There's a significance to it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, جزاكم الله خير.
So توفي في البيت بالبيت في المدينة بالمدينة, right? Um, it's all for dharfiyya, but a different type of dharfiyya, right? And then this comes directly to the discussion of qada and qadar and our existence and our actions, right? So who caused the actions? Allah. Okay, so then he's the fa'il then, right? As the Mu'tazili say, well then if Allah created qatl, then who will qatil? It's like, no, you're the qatil. Okay, it's actually the same discussion. It's fundamentally the same concept. Like, so what is the point of me being here if I'm not the creator of my actions? So you are. I mean, you didn't create the action. The force isn't coming through from you, but you have a shape, right? You are essentially there. Like you did it in this way or that way. You do have a meaning, right? You do reflect something, right? It's not that you're not there, right? There's a big difference between marartu bi zaydin and marartu zaydan. It's not the same thing. So marartu ala zaydin, marartu bi zaydin. You could say both. They have a difference in meaning. So the amal, yes, the amal is one thing, but there is the nicety or the niceties, the specifics of that thing, which does add something. It's not there. It is significant. Right? So when we talk about our kasb and all these things, and it's the same kind of thing. Allah is the Allah. We're going to say Allah is the Amil. Allah is the Khaliq, but we do have kasb in as much as I was there, I chose, I behaved, I reacted. There's things there. Don't want to go to a bigger topic, but it is there. Okay, so inshallah, this diagram helps to some extent. Um, okay, let's go back to where we got to. So it says, so he says, إعمال المصدر, making the masdar have عمل. So he says, بفعله المصدر ألحق في العمل. Just treat it as the same in ألحقه في العمل, right? Make it do the same عمل that the fi'l does. مضافا, be it مضاف, right? Which is normally the case. أو مجردا, right? Which can be the case. Oh, ma'al, which is seldom the case, but it happens. So there's a lot of flexibility because, as we saw, there's a difference between, almost the difference between um, um, uh, magma and lava. It's basically the same thing. How is it not the same thing? This that has no time involved. Right? There's no time with the masdar. There is time with the verb. So there is a difference. There is no time in laysa, but it's a verb. There's no time in, and it's not mutasarrif, unlike the verb, right? Uh, so there are differences, but there are a lot of similarities. إن كان فعل مع أن أو ما يحل محله والاسم مصدر عمل. So he says if, so basically you're going to treat it as if it's just like you're going to say أن تصوموا, right? أن تقتلوا زيدا قتلكم زيدا, same thing, right? عجبت ذلك بما عصوا الله بعصيانهم الله, same thing. والاسم مصدر عمل, right? And also the ism masdar also has amal. What's the ism masdar? It's just like the non-technical word for the masdar, like wudu, right? ثم توضأ وضوءك للصلاة, right? Wudu is the ism masdar of توضأ يتوضأ توضؤا. So then it's a noun that has the same meaning. صلى يصلي صلاة, right? So salah is not the technical masdar of صلى يصلي because it's not on the pattern تفعله. It should be تصلية. But we don't say تصلية, we say salah. Um, so wudu instead of توضؤ, salah instead of تصلية. Um, Trying to think of another example. It's a masdar. They do exist. So it says يعمل المصدر عمل الفعل في موضعين أحدهما أن يكون نائبا مناب الفعل نحو ضربا زيدا فزيدا منصوب بضربا لنيابته مناب اضرب وفيه ضمير مستتر مرفوع به كما في اضرب وقد تقدم ذلك في باب المصدر. Right, this is totally different. This is when it's like standing in its stead and it's totally different. الموضع الثاني أن يكون المصدر مقدرا بأن والفعل أو بما والفعل وهو المراد بهذا الفصل فيقدر بأن إذا أريد المضي أو الاستقبال نحو عجبت من ضربك زيدا أمس أو غدا والتقدير من أن ضربت زيدا أمس أو من أن تضرب زيدا غدا. So notice the time, it doesn't matter if it's in the past or present. With the ism fa'al, as we'll see, it's only the present or the future when it has amal, like this, right? أنا قاتل زيدا, that means now or in the future. But if you're the one who killed Zayd, you say أنا قاتل زيد, right? You can't say أنا قاتل زيدا أمس, you can't say that. ويقدر بما إذا أريد به الحال نحو عجبت من ضربك زيدا الآن وتقدير مما تضرب زيدا الآن. وهذا المصدر المقدر يعمل في ثلاثة أحوال. Right, that's how the lines began. نحو عجبت من ضربك زيدا ومجردا عن الإضافة وأل وهو المنون نحو عجبت من ضرب زيدا. Right. ومحلا بالألف واللام نحو عجبت من الضرب زيدا. وإعمال المضاف أكثر من إعمال منون، وإعمال المنون أكثر من إعمال المحلى بأل، ولهذا بدأ المصنف بذكر المضاف ثم المجرد ثم المحلى. He says here قال الأشموني في شرحه um, شرح أشموني عن الألفية: لا خلاف في إعمال المضاف، وفي كلام بعضهم ما يشعر الخلاف، والثاني أجازه البصريون ومنعه الكوفيون which is منون. Right? And notice, why would it be better? Why would it be more likely to have a amal when it's indefinite than when it's definite? On that chart, where does the activity level go down? If you could give it an L. So when it becomes more noun-like, does the activity level go down or up?
Down.
Down, right? You gave it an L. So being definite, right? Being indefinite, verbs are kind of treated as if they're indefinite, right? Whereas being definite, that's not something that nouns, that's not something really that verbs do. Um, okay. Uh, so ومن إعمال المنون قوله تعالى أو إطعام. So he said here, he says والثاني I when it's like when it's من عجبت من ضرب زيدا أجازه البصريين ومنعه الكوفيون. وأن وقع بعده مرفوع أو منصوب فهو عندهم بفعل مضمر. وأما الثالث فأجازه سيبويه ومن وافقه ومنعه الكوفيون وبعض البصريين. Notice there's genuine خلاف on the third. Right? ومن أعمال المنون قوله تعالى أو إطعام في يوم ذي مسغبة يتيما مفعول به فيتيما منصوب بإطعام. وقول الشاعر بضرب بالسيوف رؤوس قوم أزلنا هامهن عن المقيل. So رؤوس قوم, by striking with the swords the heads of some people. فرؤوس منصوب بضرب ومن إعماله وهو محلا بآل قوله. Notice that he doesn't have a shahid from the Quran. ضعيف النكاية أعداءه يخال الفرار يراخي الأجل يبعد الأجل. Somebody who is nikaya, they can't uh, here we go, mentions it here nikaya, we use it nikaya بكسر النون مصدر نكيت في العدو إذا أثرت فيه. Nikaya, like harming somebody. Somebody who is ضعيف النكاية أعداءه, somebody who is weak and unable to harm his enemy. يخال الفرار, he imagines that running away يبعد الأجل, he will hold off death, which is not the case. So the point is, النكاية here is having أعداء, who is the مفعول به of النكاية. فإنك وتأبيني عروة بعدما دعاك و وأيدينا إليه شوارع. So تأبين عروة. عروة is the مفعول به. تأبين is the مصدر. What does تأبين even mean? التأبين مصدر أبن الميت إذا أثنى عليه وذكر محاسنه. وقوله لقد علمت أولى المغيرة أنني كررت فلم أنكل عن الضرب مسمعا. الضرب مسمعا. So الضرب has an L. مسمع is the مفعول به of it. Okay. فعداءه منصوب بالنكاية وعروة منصوب بالتأبين ومسمعا منصوب بالضرب. So he says here واعلم أو وليعلم أن لإعمال المصدر شروطا هي باختصار أن يكون مظهرا فلو أضمر لم يعمل. Right? So you've now um, you're now referring to the masdar. You're now referring. So you say, for example, قتلي زيدا. It's a good example of that. When you're referring to it as قتلي زيدا عظيم وهو عمرا أعظم. Does that make sense? قتلي زيدا عظيم وهو عمرا أعظم. Does that make sense?
Yes, yeah.
Everyone else is following? Zafar, Adib? قتلي زيدا. So قتلي. That's the masdar that has amal. Zaydan, not a problem. We're all agreed with that. عظيم. وهو, meaning قتلي, I've now referred to the masdar. I'm not using the masdar, I've referred to the masdar. Does it have amal? He says فلو عضمر لم يعمل لعدم حروف الفعل خلافا للكوفيين. Right, the Kufiyin said it's fine. وأجاز ابن جني في الخصائص والرماني إعماله في المجرور, right? Which is not a big deal, right? Because we said majrur, you've just given everything more of an activity level. ونقل عن الفارسي, right? وقياسه في الظرف, right? So that's not a big deal. Like it's not very surprising. وأن يكون مكبرا غير مصغرا, right? غير مصغر, right? That's obvious. وأن يكون غير محدود بالتاء وهي تاء المرة وورد شاذا, right? So, you know, ضربتي زيدا. My single. So in reality, these three, ba, jim, and dal are the same thing. Ba, jim, dal, and ha. They're actually all the same. What I'm trying to say is it's not qualified by something. So in يكون مفردا لا مثنى. Muthannan makes two of them, right? That now you're starting to make it treated like a noun in that is. So the point of the masdar is supposed to be this concept, right? But when you made it my for example, my small strike of Zaid, Turaybi Zaidan. That's not now making it like a noun proper. No, it's not going to work. You've made it masdar marra. That's like a noun. You've made it أن يكون غير منعوت, same thing, قبل تمام عمله لأن معمول المصدر بمنزلة الصلة من الموصول فلا يفصل بنعت بينهما وما ورد قدره بعد النعت فعل يتعلق بال etc. فلو نعت بعد تمامه لم يمنع, right? So قتل زيدا العظيم هذا, عجبت من قتلك زيدا الشنيع, fine, but قتلك الشنيع زيدا, no, right? Because again, it's you've taken it out of its verb thing and put it into its noun thing by making it small, by making it a single instance, by describing it, by describing number, the same thing, right? So these ba, jim, dal, ha, it's all the same really, right? That's why it doesn't describe it, right? It's one discussion. وأشار بقوله وأشار بقوله والاسم مصدر عمل إلا أن اسم المصدر قد يعمل عمل الفعل والمراد باسم المصدر ما ساوى المصدر في الدلالة على معناه وخالفه بخلوه لفظا وتقديرا من بعد ما في فعله دون التعويض كعطاء فإنه مساو لإعطاء معنى ومخالفا له بخلوه عن الهمزة الموجودة في فعله وهو خال منهما لفظا وتقديرا ولم يعوض عنها شيء, right? So أطاعك زيدا هذا is the same as إعطاؤك زيدا هذا واحترز بذلك مما خلا من بعض ما في فعله لفظا ولم يخلو منه تقديرا فإنه لا يكون اسم مصدر بل يكون مصدر وذلك نحو قتال فإنه مصدر قاتل وقد خلا من الألف التي قبل التاء في الفعل ولكن خلا منها لفظا ولم يخلو منها تقديرا ولذلك نطق بها في بعض المواضع نحو قاتل قتالا وضرب ضرابا لكن انقلب الألف ياء كسر ما قبلها. Right, so the point is but قتال is still a مصدر, it's not a اسم مصدر. واحترز بقوله دون التعويض مما خلا من بعض ما في فعله لفظا وتقديرا لكن عوض عنه شيء انه لا يكون اسم مصدر بل هو مصدر ولذلك عدا فانه مصدر وعدا وقد خلا عن right, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about it's like a different word. And this is a different word. وزعم ابن المصنف أن عطاء مصدر وأن همزته حذفت تخفيفا وهو خلاف ما صرح به غيره من النحويين. ومن إعمال اسم المصدر قوله أكفرا بعد رد الموت عني وبعد عطائك المئة الرتاعة, right? You're giving المئة الرتاعة, right? Giving 100 camels, right? رتاعة, those 100 grazing ones. فالمئة منصوب بعطائك ومنه حديث الموطأ ومن قبلة الرجل امرأته الوضوء, right? These are the words of Ibn Umar, I believe. Here we go. Abdullah Mas'ud, my apologies. Right? From a man's kissing his wife, there is wudu. Right? فامرأته منصوب بقبلة. Right? So قبلة means تقبيل. إذا صح عون الخالق المرأة لم يجد عسيرا من الآمال إلا ميسرا. So إعانة. عون means إعانة. وبعشرتك الكريمة تعد منهم بعشرتك I don't know what this one is. قول الوافر مفاعلة فعول بعشرتك الكرام تعد منهم فلا ترين لغيرهم ألوفا. Right, وافر. Right, so بعشرتك الكرام. So by your حسن عشرة means حسن عشرة, حسن معاشرة, right? Um, living with nobles, right? Living with nobles makes you owner of the nobles. بيت لم يعلم قائله هو منه الشبه أشموني. اوكي وإعمال اسم مصدر قليل، فمن ادعى الإجماع على جواز إعماله فقد وهم، فإن الخلاف في ذلك مشهور. قال الصيرمي: إعماله شاذ، وأنشد أكفرا البيت. وقال الضياء الدين ابن العج في البسيط: ولا يبعد أن ما قام مقام المصدر. Oh, this is a book. I don't know what they're talking about. ولا يبعد أن ما قام مقام المصدر يعمل عمله، ونقل عن بعضهم أنه قد أجاز ذلك قياسا. وبعد جره الذي أضيف له كمل بنصب أو برفع عمله. يضاف المصدر إلى الفاعل فيجره، ثم ينصب المفعول، نحو عجبت من شرب زيد العسل. So زيد is the فاعل even though it's مجرور. وإلى المفعول ثم يرفع الفاعل، نحو عجبت من شرب العسل زيد. So this is the فاعل and this is the مفعول. ومنه قوله تن this is oh. تنفي يداها تنفي يداها what's بسيط. uh, فعول مفاعل فعول مفاعل is that right؟ فعول مفاعل فع... فعول how is that فعول؟ مستفعل فعل sorry مستفعل no, that's بسيط ونبقى طويل يا بسيط. مستفعل تنفي يدا هل حصى في كلها جرة نفي الدرا هيمة قاد تنقى نفي الدرا هيمة قاد الصيا ريفي. So this is a slightly different ending. That's not the same. This is a فاعل ending. مستفعل فاعل مستفعل فاعل ريفي. So her feet kick away the stones in the heat of the sun, just as the sayarifa, the what's it called? Guy who exchanges
Money
money.
changer?
What's it called?
Money changers?
Money changers. They uh they uh they throw away or throw it away, meaning rejecting it, or throw it away, meaning throw it into their box with dirhams. So the point is, so basically there's this idafa happening, so that makes either the fa'il majrur and then the maf'ul bihi will be there, and they're all other round. Right? So in reality, this is in reality what we call majaz aqli. Right? أجبت من شرب العسل زيد. Um, That's not majaz aqli because you mentioned the fa'il directly there. It's not majaz aqli. If he wasn't there, it'd be majaz aqli. وليس هذا مخصوص بالضرورة خلافا لبعضهم، وجعل منه قول تعالى: ولله على الناس حج البيت من استطاع إليه سبيلا. So hajj as a masdar, right? Performing hajj to the house, that's the maf'ul bihi. Man istata'a is now uh, is now the fa'il of hajj, right? Or we can say وَلِلَّهِ عَلَى النَّاسِ حِجُّ الْبَيْتِ and then بدل بعض من الكل. من استطاع منه سبيلا. So it's either بدل of ناس or the فاعل of حج. فأعرب من فاعلا بحج ورد بأنه يصير معنى ولله على جميع الناس أن يحج البيت المستطيع وليس كذلك. Right? And I believe there's debate on this. فلازم بذلك تأثيم جميع الناس بتخلف المستطيع عن الحج. Does that make sense? So it is obligatory. So that if that was if that were the case, if this was a fa'il, it would mean the following: it is Allah's right that everybody make sure that those who are able to go on Hajj go on Hajj. So therefore, it is fard kifaya that every mustati' goes on Hajj. So if every mustati' does not go on Hajj, then that fard kifaya has not been fulfilled and everybody is sinful. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right? As opposed to making it badal, that's easy. Right? It is Allah's right upon all people that the Hajj of the house, visiting of the house be done. All people, meaning those who are able to do it. ولله على جميع الناس أن يحج البيت المستطيع وليس كذلك. فمن بدل من الناس وتقدير ولله على الناس مستطيعهم حج البيت. وقيل من مبتدأ والخبر محذوف وتقدير ما فعليه. Right? ويضاف المصدر أيضا إلى الظرف ثم يرفع الفاعل وينصب المفعول نحو عجبت من ضرب اليوم زيد عمرا وجر ما يتبع وما جر ومن راعى في الاتباع المحل فحسن. إذا أضيف المصدر إلى الفاعل ففاعله يكون. Now this structure here ففاعله يكون, I don't know if this is a real proper Fusha phrase. Right? This sounds very almost English. Obviously, it's not modern Arabic at all. But just the phrase yakunu, right? So shouldn't we say إذا أضيف المصدر إلى الفاعل جر فاعله لفظا right, ورفع محلا, right? Notice how it says يكون مجرورا. It's a bit odd. Or you'd say كان فاعله مجرورا. Right? Why wouldn't you say that? إذا أضيف المصدر إلى الفاعل ففاعله, why does it have to be يكون? So I'm not sure. I'm not, I've sensed this yakunu now and then. It's used in one standard Arabic, and I think it's used in like classical Arabic in this period of classical Arabic, like, late classical Arabic. This word yakunu, right? I don't think it's. I'm not saying it's grammatically wrong. I'm just saying use-wise, it's not really a thing that's done. Wallahu alam. Anyway, so فاعله يكون مجرورا لفظا ومرفوعا محلا فيجوز في تابعه من الصفة والعطف وغيرهما مراعاة اللفظ فيجر فيجر ومراعاة المحل فيرفع فتقول عجبت من شرب زيد الظريف والظريف. Right? So Zaid is the fa'il of shurb. So I was surprised that Zaid, the cool one, that's my bad translation of dharif. So Zaid is the fa'il, so I can say dharifu or I can say dharifi. ومن اتباعه على المحل قوله حتى تهجر في الرواح وهاجها طالب المعوق حقه المظلوم. So why مظلوم? So here this is where it's useful poetry because it has to be mu. So this has to have a wow, this has to have a dhamma. And this مظلوم is the mu'aqqib. طلب المعقب حقه. So this is definitely going with this. So this has to have a kasra because mudaf ilayh. But this has a dhamma. So this is describing this, even though because it's fi mahal rafa at the same time. فرفع المظلوم لكونه نعتا للمعقب على المحل، وإذا أضيف إلى المفعول فهو مجرور لفظا منصوب محلا، فيجوز أيضا في تابعه قد كنت داينت بها حسانا مخافة الإفلاس والليانة. Right? Out of fear for becoming bankrupt and becoming too soft. So مخافة مخافة. So this is مفعول به. So والليانة. فالليانة معطوفا على محل الإفلاس. Inshallah, we'll come to this inshallah ta'ala next week. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. سبحان الله وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.